There's an overwhelming sadness.
For me, it's heartbreaking.
How terrifying that must have been.
Extremely powerful, educational.
There's a gay museum in Berlin after which this exhibit was modeled. And it was on display for a few years at the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum in Washington, D.C. And I saw it there, and a board member was informed about it in Germany at the Gay Museum. And through that collaboration with Florida Atlantic University, we decided to try to bring it here.
I was here opening night, and I was overwhelmed by the intensity of the information. I've been very much aware of the Holocaust and the issues surrounding the Holocaust. But for me, this was a new experience because I was unaware of the persecution against the homosexual community during that period of time.
Throughout the country, we've got people literally arguing for their intolerance. They're arguing for the ability to be and remain intolerant to people. And so that is an echo of past conversations. And in this circumstance, that's an echo of a past conversation that was very well documented by the Nazis. And the curator of the exhibit, when he was here and spoke on the opening evening, made those comments that one of the things that the Nazis did for us that was very beneficial is they documented everything. They documented not only what they did, but how they did it, how they intended to do it. And law enforcement was used, to enforce these acts. And the elected officials of the time, they were putting these things together into what would be bills and revisions to pieces of law. And so I think that the fact that it's a state-sponsored persecution and that it isn't as far away as you would think. We're talking one lifetime ago. And so I think that when we know that there are the remnants of that kind of conversation happening in our country, it might be very reasonable to bring people face to face with it and say this is the extent of persecution and arguing for your intolerance.
It's incredibly powerful on many different levels for me, as I was raised Jewish. So there's that component of it, and of course being gay and Jewish is, I guess, sort of a double whammy. So going through the exhibit, having the exhibit even come here, I don't know that there's any other words other than just extremely powerful, educational, and in some ways inspiring.
I guess I look at them and I wonder to what extent something like this is possible even today. So I really want to, I guess for me it's about really reaching deeply within myself and reaching deeply within these individuals and really feeling what their experience was like, how terrifying that must have been.
Knowing and understanding the first segment about what the environment was like for gays and lesbians prior to the war, and the fact that it was a very open culture in Berlin, and it was one of the most cosmopolitan cities, and more than 100 gay bars were there. And then seeing very clearly what the Nazi ideology was for perfection, what they wanted to see, and then how they used the war and the revisions of paragraph 175 to implement that vision of perfection and what they wanted as far as a master race. And looking at the idea that homosexual men were a threat to that, and that you're understanding clearly that there was a state-sponsored concern and fear that this lifestyle was going to fracture that ideal.
It's terrifying because young, wonderful men, they deserve so much, and I think about me and other people. Couldn't happen to anybody. Thanks God we live in a free country that we don't have to go through what they went through, but it's terrifying. It's very touching.
The criminal justice system was used here not only to be punitive toward people that were known homosexuals, but after the revision of paragraph 175, which was the actual piece of legislation, it was also kind of extended for people that were suspected of being homosexuals, or someone could just be pointed out and said, hey, that person's homosexual, or that person relates with someone who's homosexual. This wasn't something that just happened behind closed doors. It was something that happened out in the public.
I think it's a major blessing that we have this type of a thing in this community, so that there's an opportunity for people to learn more about this particular aspect of the entire Holocaust experience.
And I think it was quite an education, to say the least. It's sad in many ways, but also very informative, and I think it's something the community really needs to know about, that the homosexual community has been persecuted for years and years and years, and still is in many ways.
And this was an opportunity for us to reach out to a broader community and bring them in and provide them with education on something that not a lot of people know, a lot about. And so it gave us an opportunity to really kind of fulfill our mission and promote pride and diversity. And this exhibit from a federal museum gives, credibility to the work that we're doing.